the 8th still stands. However, Parliament, in its wisdom, is free. The budget is not the speech. The budget are these documents. So whether I stand on the floor of Parliament to read a budget or not read a budget, here is the budget, ladies and gentlemen. You can begin the interrogation of the budget. The process has started. So the speech itself is nothing more than a mere highlight of what is contained in these documents. So we stand guided. If you want us to read, we shall read. If you don't want us to read, we'll say, well, interrogate the documents and do your part. Kenya is a member, and a member in good standing, and a major beneficiary of the East African community. There are certain aspects of that particular treaty of which we have signed to. There are a number of obligations that we have. First and foremost, and key amongst those, is our ability to agree on a common budget date, so that some of the proposals, especially with regard to our various tariffs, are harmonized as a region. The date of 8th was set, taking into account the Republic of Uganda was having a public holiday on the 10th. We lived up to our commitment and to our discussion and to our agreement that we already have with the budget committee. So we have done our part. The budget is here. So whether the speech is read or not, the process is ongoing, because this is the statement. In terms of recurrent expenditure, we're talking about 544.9 billion. In terms of ministerial development expenditure, we're talking about 398.6 billion. The consolidated fund services will take up about 209.5 billion. And so that it is clear what we're talking about, the consolidated fund services include the public debt, which will take up 173.2 billion. Pensions and gratuities will take 31.8 billion. Salaries and allowances of constitutional office holders and offices are 3 billion. Other consolidated fund services will be about 1.5 billion. And then, of course, there is a civil contingency fund of 2 billion. And we need to understand the spirit of the new constitution, not just the written letter of the new constitution. When we're talking about approving 2 months in advance, is to try as much as possible to move away from the system of approving vote on account by June and then the rest of the budget by December, to a system whereby the budget could be approved very, very early at the beginning of the financial year. So ministries are now able to plan, knowing that they have the authority to incur expenditure at the beginning of the year, as opposed to what is happening now, that they will wait because they don't want to make commitments, because they don't know whether Parliament will approve or not approve. So they make commitments sometimes very late. And then we also have problems, as I've said, with the issue of public procurement. This again is something that we're trying to streamline, to see if we can streamline it while maintaining the issues of transparency and good governance. But how do we fast track that process? So we're actually looking at the public procurement rules and regulations to see how those can also be streamlined to again fast track the process of approving procurement, but remembering and maintaining always the need for both transparency, accountability, and good governance. We are pushing, we're trying to get all our officers, we're trying to get ministries to understand what they will be required to do, so that in due course we will eventually now be able, through this transition period, to be in a position where we actually live. So we are just creating that awareness. We are actually, and that's what I'm talking about, getting the public financial management bill out, because that is the law that will take into account and deliver the steps that will be used in formalizing this particular period. So that is what I'm saying. Let us understand that spirit, and that is why we are saying let us get everybody on board. When we have problems, that's why we go to the budget committee. We explain to them where we are, what is happening, yeah, and like reasonable citizens, we then say, okay, given those challenges, how do we now overcome that?